Guys, right now we got to talk about something important. We're going to talk about what's been going on all over the markets, especially in AITX stock. Humble, Workhorse, you got a bunch of companies. They tried to do it with ILUS. They got it down pretty far. But ILUS was way too powerful to hold down for long because of the valuation that it is at currently. And they failed miserably, as they will with AITX and a lot of other companies that they're attacking. So right now, we're going to play a guy by the name of Joshua Duke. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. You guys that have some real money in the markets, whatever you guys have in the markets, listen to this video or go on his channel, but share this video, share his video. Let people know what's going on. Let people understand what's really going on with stocks that have real future and a real potential and that are going to be huge in the coming years. And I'm going to let Joshua get right into it, guys. Pay attention. Don't get tricked out of your money. Understand what's going on. I've been telling you guys this for months and months and months. And let's get into it, man.
In my comments, bashing me non-stop that people are taking my advice and buying Humble, which I talk about a lot. That is not the purpose of my YouTube channel or this video. So if you've been on StockTwits, Twitter, YouTube, any social media platform or forum, you will see bears, and I mean a massive amount of them, especially if you're following the stock that I'm following, Humble Pay, which is a company looking to simplify blockchain. And it has been bashed, it has fallen from its all-time highs, but the bears and bashers are going rampant. And that's not the only stock. With the creation of StockTwits, Twitter, bears have been going wild, but not just any bear. Bears can be split into two different categories. The first definition of a bear is someone that used to be a bull, someone who is generally interested in the company, but they see too many red flags or too many negative things that outweighs the good things in their mind. So this is someone who's just lost hope in a company. They don't think it's going to make it. The second genre of bears is bashers, and these are the absolute worst of the worst. They spread misinformation, they twist truths into lies, all for a financial agenda. And a lot of times, they attack by a group with the invention of Discord. These guys can create groups of 200 bashers, and they can just go after a stock, which is illegal, by the way. So regular bears, people who are bearish or pessimists about a stock, they bring up some good things. They bring up risks that maybe people haven't had. You shouldn't just be listening to bulls' opinions, but you should be listening to actually people who have really good analysis from the bearish perspective. Sometimes it helps just to help make sure that you're thinking about all the risks in a stock or investing. Now with a basher, it is pure emotion. Their whole purpose of existing is to crash a stock. That's why they're here, and they basically have two different strategies.
Guys, as this guy gets into it, listen, like I said, I couldn't set it any better than this guy is going to break it down to you guys. You guys have to be smart enough to understand the difference between a bear and a paid basher. Okay, there are some people on certain stocks that have certain details that you might want to take into account. But if it's a person posting every single day, 50 times a day, nothing but fun, you guys got to pay attention. They only attack stocks that are winners. Companies like AITX. companies like ILUS, they tried. Pay attention. Listen, let's get back into this one.
Strategies to do this. So either they're focused on strategy 1 or strategy 2. Now let's talk about the different strategies that they have. Now, strategy 1 is the short and distort. This is when a Discord group comes after a stock. They short the stock massively all together, and then they start bashing the stew out of it. They go on StockWits, Twitter, they tag it in all the negative posts. And these posts are just wild. Their whole purpose is to get investor sentiment to go down, people to be scared. They love fear, and they love people dumping their stock. This is their whole strategy. And they do this so that way the stock dives down artificially with no reason, and then they can scoop up the cheaper shares of people dumping to cover their short positions. So it's shorting a stock and then distorting the information, bashing the stew out of it to get that price down. That way they can cover their short position and make a lot of money. That's their whole purpose, is to make a lot of money. So if you're following on something like StockTwits and you see bashers just coming up, I mean, every few seconds, bashers are making some comment. A lot of them are the same, all capitalizations, and the stock price is going down. More people are shorting it. It's going down. People are crashing it. And then all of a sudden, all the bears go away. And you see a little green candle, and then another one, and another one. Well, that means they hit their target price that they want to cover their short positions. And so they all just go silent. And because of all that silence, everybody's like, oh, it was nothing. And then people start buying back in. I have been part of multiple stocks where this has happened, where the bashers have just been going nuts, posting comments everywhere. And then all of a sudden, it just ends. And they're nowhere to be found. They've closed all their accounts. There's no way to find them. And the stock starts going back up. And everyone that dumped their shares loses out.
Now, I want you guys to understand, what he just said right there is probably one of the most important parts of this video. There's going to come a time, let's take AITX for example, where right now, it definitely looks like we hit the lobby, right? Looks like we hit the ground floor. I don't see it going much lower than this. But they're trying desperately, and they're failing miserably. There's going to come a day, it might be this week, next month, in the spring, where this stock jumps in a matter of weeks as seen before, and will break all-time highs, and will demolish all-time highs. Don't be the one stuck, because you're going to remember this video. When you're stuck chasing, you're going to understand what my man Joshua here is telling you guys right now, what I've been telling you guys for months and months and months. The stocks that they come for are nothing but winners. It happened to Tesla. It happened to all the huge companies that they were able to spread FUD and scare out the weak hands. Don't be one of them. Because myself, and I'm sure Joshua as well, we're not going to have any pity for you. When we break all-time highs with AITX, nobody's going to have any pity for you. So you're going to be stuck watching on the sidelines. And it's going to be a shame. Let's get back into this.
Now, the number 2 strategy is called the poop and scoop. Before we go any further, I will just let it be known that I don't take financial advice from someone who has a strategy called the poop and scoop. So this is where the bashers come on and they bash a stock all the way down. They have a target low price that they're just bashing the stew out of it, spreading misinformation, lying about everything to get that stock down. And then once it's artificially inflated down, that's the poop. And then they scoop up all the cheap shares from people who are scared and dumping their shares. And this is called the scoop. And then they just all go quiet again. So it's kind of the same strategy as the first one, but they all go quiet and the stock goes back to its original price. And then they can start just selling those shares off slowly to make a lot of money. Now, these are usually done as a group, and a lot of times other groups will pile on to whatever, certain groups are doing. So sometimes it could be several groups just piling on because they're noticing the same strategy going on. And by the way, both of these strategies, all of this is completely illegal. We'll get to that later. Now, what's really bad is when you have a whole bunch of groups doing both of these strategies at the same time. They're shorting it and distorting it all the way down, pooping it, and then scooping off the bottom shares. So they create a short position, crash the stock, cover that short position, scoop up cheap shares, and then let the stock go back up. There's absolutely nothing you can do to stop it. And when you have several groups piling onto the same stock because it worked before, there's no way to unlock it from that gridlock. Just have to let them do their thing. Now, it's important to note that being bearish isn't illegal. You can have bearish thoughts on fact, as long as it's based on fact. However, being a basher, being as a controlled group that's targeting a specific stock to get it down, that is illegal because it's market manipulation, especially if they're spreading misinformation, twisting truths into lies. That's illegal. Like, there's nothing you can say that convince anyone otherwise. And even the SEC says that's illegal. Now we get to the bad news. There's no way to stop it. With the invention of the internet, these groups and forums are just out there. You could pop up a Discord group,
the way to start attempting to put an end to this, share this video. Share Joshua's video, Joshua Duke on YouTube. Share this video on every platform. Let people understand what's going on, those that don't.
Scoop, do the short and distort, and then close the Discord group and move on. There's no way to find these guys. They pick one out of 100 every now and then and just destroy them legally, but to stop everybody, there's no way to stop it. And that's why it's becoming so popular and why they can completely crash a stock if they want to. The problem they have with finding these guys is because everyone hides behind fake personas. Do not take any advice from someone who doesn't put their face out into the public, someone who doesn't let you see who they are. This is really important because if they're a cartoon character, if they're pretending to be a movie character, it means that they're hiding their identity, and at any given moment they can just close that account and never be seen from again. And a lot of these bashers have multiple accounts. So if you have a Discord group of 50 people or 30 people, and each one of them has 5 different StockTwits accounts that they're just willing to burn and let crash just to make money off one stock, like, there's no way you can find those people or hunt them down. So here's one of the main problems I see. There's people that are actually engaging with these people. This is a huge problem because it does absolutely no good. I can tell you exactly how the conversation is going to go down because I used to do it in the past. They usually have 3 points. Every basher usually has 3 points, and they're just completely off the wall FUD. Or they're really negative things that happened way back in the past that they just won't let go because that's the only negative thing they got. So they post point A. You say that's not true. Then they post point 2, and you say that's not true. And then they post point 3, and you say that's not true. But instead of giving you facts or are actually arguing with you, they'll go all the way back into one. So they just talk in circles. A lot of times this could be a paid basher. Some bashers make 15 to 25 cents pure post that you post underneath their comment. So if they're a paid basher, they're just trying to get you to comment even more. That way they stay vague. They keep just going around in circles. Now, at some point, they will get emotionally distraught. And at that point, they will personally attack you. I don't like cussing on my channel.
Sound familiar? Talking about Steve, his family, his wife, right? I'm sure that sounds familiar to you guys. Um, don't fall for the foolery, man. I've been telling you guys this for months.
You're welcome to say a few things if you want, but if you're like actively aggressive and cussing at me, like on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna block you. I just don't want that in my comments. I don't want people to see that. You're allowed to have bearish comments, but no personal attacks. Usually, if you argue with a basher, it will lead to cussing and personal attacks, period. It's just gonna end that way. It escalates quickly. And it's because they don't care if their account gets banned because they have a whole bunch of backups just ready to go. So this brings me to what a lot of bulls do. A lot of people on Twitter and stock Twitch, if they're bullish and this bashing starts happening, they just block them. And that's a valid strategy if you don't want to waste any time. One of the problems I see is if I'm a new investor to a stock and I go to stock Twitch or Twitter just to check out things, to look for any links to DD, just to help out. What are people talking about this stock? I see a whole bunch of bears and there's no bullish arguments against them. This is the problem with just blocking them. You have a whole bunch of bulls that know their stuff, and if they block all the bears, they don't see what the bears are posting. And then the new people only see all the bear stuff that's posting. So I rarely block people. I only block people if they get really aggressive towards me and they're like cussing at me and stuff. I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. So that's one of the problems I see with the bull strategy there. A lot of times, not to engage them, but to drop a link to relevant information that counteracts their argument. So in other words, if they say, like, let's take Humble, for example, Humble Pay that we're invested in on this channel. If they say something like, oh, this stock went through dilution, I'll drop a link to like my video that talks about the complete share structure and why they restructured, because they were IPO as a reverse merger and had to get the percentages right. And then I'll just move on. I don't care if they respond. I won't respond to their response. I'll just drop that link of relevant information in case new people look at their comment and they're actually going to pay attention to it. There's so many new people coming into the investing world that they don't understand that there's paid bashers to actually bash a stock. So I just try to give them some relevant information in case some new people stumble upon that thread. So that's my strategy. If you aren't good, if you're emotionally tied and you can't just debate without emotion, I would totally recommend you just block these guys. Block them out. Now, if you see someone that's bearish and has a legit bearish argument and is actually telling you why they think that, that's probably just a bearish, negative sentiment investor on the stock, somebody who probably lost money, and is not willing to take ownership for it. They want excuses. In that case, like, they're just a bear. Like, maybe you can sway them, maybe not. Maybe you can learn from them or see some risks that you didn't actually think about. So it could be useful to have some bears around. But if it's just straight bashing with only purpose is crashing the stock, that's it. We're done. So I will say this, so one of the main points that a basher makes that I see that pop up a whole lot is once they start shorting it and once they've already been bashing it for a while and get that stock price to go down, 50% of them, just their whole point and whole thesis is, look, the stock's going down, which means it's bearish. The stock market doesn't act according to the past data, it acts to moving forward data. Exactly. And the now data. So pointing at what a stock did 5 days ago doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to do the same thing for the next 5 days. If that was the case, we would all be massively wealthy because we would know where the stock market's going. So just watch out for that. That's somebody that's just bashing, that just wants the stock down. They just want you to look at the negative price and create fear and sentiment. This is a widespread pandemic right now. There is so much manipulation in the market that there's no way for us to stop it. And the SEC is so far behind and can't keep up that this is going to continue. So the best we can do is bring awareness to the situation. There are groups of bashers and shorters that destroy stocks. That's what they do. It's how they make money. This is all about money to them. It has nothing to do with a personal company. The company's just irrelevant to them. They don't care what the company does, what its future is. All they want to do is short and destroy that stock price to make money. And it's widespread. The SEC is not going to be able to do anything about it. They can't police the whole internet. And it's up to investors to start blocking them, start posting relevant information. Just some counter arguments. You just do the best you can, you know. And if you truly believe in a stock and you see these guys coming in, that should give you some more bullish feelings about the stock. Because if they're gun-ho to bring it down, probably means that they're artificially bringing it down and it's going to go back up. There's my thoughts on bashers. If they spread...
Joshua, salute, guys. Pay attention. What's going on? Share these videos. Take care.